All right, so let's just take some time and share. Let's go on the page and share the live wherever we can, and try to get some folks following us. I'm hearing a juicy conversation tonight.
It's good seeing all of you. You all look good.
Okay.
It's been-
So Tata, you brought up something last time. We can probably spend, you know, next 5 minutes just talking about it while we have folks coming on. Uh, some things that transpired in the community this week. Um, and you were talking about the results of the Brooklyn Park election. You want to speak to that a little bit, Titus?
Sure. Just briefly. So the local government had um their primary over the weekend. I believe it was over the weekend. And as we all know, we have a Liberian here who partook in that race.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, he came short of, I believe, 2%, 2 to 3% under another immigrant who's a Kenyan who will be representing the Democrats um, on that ticket. So he didn't make it. We were really hoping that at least Liberians, with the number that we have, the number of Liberians in this state, and especially concentrated in the Brooklyn Park area. I believe that's where they were running Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center. That will have some kind of representation, you know, at the local government level. But our guy did not make it, so the Kenyan will be assuming that position soon, and she'll be running actually during the elections that's coming up
Oh, wow.
in in
So,
November.
so that was just the primaries.
It's just the primary. And
Okay.
that's one of the things too, Chairman. I feel like a lot of Liberians did not even know about the primary. Most of them are probably still waiting for the actual election, but you got to vote to place your candidate on, to win that primary before
Mm-hmm.
you could be able to elect them into office. So that's the most pressing issue within the Liberian community so far.
Yeah. If I can step in here, Chairman,
Hey
quick.
guys, for sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think, glad you brought that up. Yeah, Winfrey Russell, it was a primary, between the Democrats, and so you have two Africans basically, two African immigrants, competing in that primary. And when you look at it, I think, we have Winfrey Russell, who's a Liberian, obviously in the community. But I think most of his messages, nothing against, is like, I think the way he was, the platforms he was using to put his message out there, I don't think it was getting a lot of Liberian. And the other thing I noticed, right, is like, to Tato's point, a lot of guys, a lot of folks didn't have information how the primary work. Okay. Minnesota, the good thing about it, even though you have the two parties, but it's an open primary. So if you are Republican, you can vote on the Democrat side. If you are Democrat, you can vote on the Republican side. And when we look
Mm-hmm.
at the turnout in that election, like Winfrey also had, I think, 951 votes. And then Huda, which is the Kenyan girl, she has like 999 votes. So it was just a small margin, right? It's a very small
Right.
margin. But I think if like Winfrey Russell could have, the messaging, I think I was joking with you guys last night. I said maybe if we could have, use Inner Cycle podcast, right? This platform, maybe we could, help him, get him over the top. But to your point, I think, we have a critical elections this year, and I think our community, not only in Minnesota, but the entire United States, there's a
Right.
very important election. You have two candidates running against each other. You have local election all over the place that's going to impact us, and I think we just need to encourage folks, every time to ready participate. Civic participation is really important in this country, so we all got to take it seriously. I think we need to play our part to just, let folks know.
Right. Yep, I agree. I think they're because a lot of people don't vote. A lot of people don't vote in these elections, and several reasons for that. Sometimes people don't know, their awareness is poor. And so I think we have to, in order for us to want a representation out there, we need to ensure that we are collective and supporting. But again, though, we need to ensure that we're supporting somebody who will really represent us, not just because the president is Liberian. Because I mean, if the man is not competent enough, we can't just have him going there. So, but we need to ensure that we can rally around somebody competent, support them, and get them up there. So, one more minute. Anybody wants to chip in on that issue real quick, and then we'll move on to our topic for the night.
Yes, I'd like to add something. Winfrey went to the Liberian game for July 26th. I believe he had opportunity to get the votes that was needed because there was about 500 plus people at that game, the soccer game. So I think personally, for the future term, he need to put himself out more better because there are a lot of Liberians within this Minnesota, Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center. That's the main range. So he just has to expose himself better, and the opportunity will come.
Right.
Yeah, and then Chairman, if I can just say one more thing to that, and then we can move on. I think right, the role we can play, the role Inner Circle Podcast or this platform can play, it's just to educate our folks, right? We are not there to tell them, it's to educate them to go out to vote. Whoever they vote for, I mean, to me, I believe folks should vote their interest. To your point, but I
Right.
think the role we should play here in our community is just to encourage folks, right? Give them the right information, bringing bringing political leaders on here, it's like really. I mean, if they want to spread their message, fine. But the role we should play here is to make sure that we encourage our folks to participate. If you're a citizen, man, don't just sit in the background, right? Participate is very, very important.
Right. All right. Thank you very much, Melvin. You got anything to say? Dream.
Yes, guys. First of all, I want to appreciate you for bringing me on the show. I think the publicity was poor. Russell came on the soccer field that we have. He said 500, but we were over 4,000 human beings. I have never seen a big soccer field being overly capacitated as it was this gone July 26th. He had an opportunity to do a lot. We have speakers out there. We have people kind of broadcasting the game, and the audio system people could hear everybody. But he didn't use that. And additionally, um, not a lot of people get to know about Russell running until few other people in the soccer field say, "Oh, we have a Liberian running." So yeah, poor publicity one, and then not really creating that awareness for people to be aware of it and kind of take the initiative going forward. So
Right.
next time I will acknowledge him to basically just try to do a lot of work by informing the Liberian people. Information is very important. When people are informed and they are aware they have their own person running, I believe they will make the right decision to decide on should I carry Russell or should I just kind of look for someone else I can carry. That will give them the opportunity to kind of know who Russell is, dig into his history and characteristic as to whether he can represent the Liberian people. So there were a lot of poor job done there. We can reach out to him if he decides to run in the future to just give him these kind of little tips that we know and have people that have run
Right.
before, how were they successful, how they were able to kind of disseminate information to the people, because that is key. And overall, Liberia as a whole, when we are not informed about something, we just don't know. You can't have
Yeah.
us looking for information. Reading is a problem for us. So you need to create that awareness, not just Liberian, but reaching out to a lot of people that live within the city he's trying to run for. So yeah,
Right.
that's all I can say for now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on Spoon TV to spread his message, which is not
Yeah.
Poor campaign
which is
strategy.
not helpful.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you very much. I like Melvin's energy he's bringing tonight. Melvin is
Poor
fired up.
campaign
You can
strategy.
tell that Melvin is fired up. Melvin is ready for this show tonight. Oh,
Okay.
man, thank you for being here. Dream doesn't
X-rated.
look like you want to job in this political.
Well, I wanted to say something, but I had to
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so just like everybody else is saying, trying to put himself out there, I feel like his team did not do anything good. The first time I heard about the his voting stuff was actually today from a friend, and like you said, he should have gone out to a lot of people, Liberians who have big platforms to help him promote his work and try to get people to push, like you're saying, Inner Circle should be doing, and a lot of other big platform out there that he should have reached out to help him push his campaign, but poor planning. So
Right, gentlemen, lady and gentlemen, we did we share this live to our Vero pages? Melvin, did you share to your you share to your page?
No, no, I haven't.
Please do that.
All
Tato,
right.
have you done this? We have zero person watching. People need to
I
follow this. This is gonna be important.
I shared the link to some people. I don't know.
Okay. If you can just share which link you share to people? The live link, right?
Hold on a second. Let me see. Yes, that one.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. So tonight we'll be discussing a very important topic. One that we are all aware of, some way, somehow, as adults. The child support in America. We're talking about the good and the bad. And so we want to have this in a conversational style,
Mhm.
giving each other time to talk. And we are glad to have Melvin here tonight. So we'll just quickly go ahead and for the sake of our audience, introduce ourselves. And of course, I'm your host here, Sam Yuko Eugenian. Um, and I'll just go around and quickly introduce. We have AB, who is the co-host. We have Joey Bayan, who is a consistent panelist here. We have Tatos Nikan, who is also a consistent panelist. Dream Kamara has just joined us. Melvin Lanier Zia will continue to be a contributing panelist here. And we want to say welcome to the show. And we'll jump right into our topic tonight. Child support, the good and the bad. We'll give the lady in our presence tonight her reflection. I would like to hear her reflection on child support and the issues that are surrounding child support. Over to you, Dream.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you, everybody, for bringing me on here. I am really grateful for this opportunity. Um, my take on child support is when it comes to the good part, um, I feel like child support should be all about the child, no matter the resentment between the parents. It should be for the betterment of the child. Everything should be surrounding the well-being of the child. And what I've noticed in the from people I've met and things I have seen and read about, a lot of times people put their spouses or exes on child support for the wrong reasons, without regarding the impact it's going to have on the child or children, um, which is very wrong from my perspective. I feel like when you are going through these kind of things, because a lot of times the court focus on enforcing payments and not actually considering, the negative aspects of the disadvantages that these things can have on both the parents and the child. So my discussion today is going to be surrounding mostly on the negative aspect, and people, the kind of things people should focus on when they're trying. People should go look at the good and negative aspect of child support before considering putting either of their spouses, or because I believe both parents, it can be either ways, whoever has custody or more income or whatever, based on what I've read. So if anyone is putting their partner or ex-partner on child support, their child's other parent, they should be able to consider all of the advantages and disadvantages that it comes with, especially in regards to the child or children.
Thank you, Dream. Appreciate it. Tatos, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I think Trey made she made very important points there. But I think child support, to understand child support, I think it's very important to understand why it's in the system in the first place. Um, what I know is that child support, this system that surrounds it, is a business. You know, it's not just about the well-being of a child or government interfering to ensure that parents are taking care of their children. If you look at statistics, this thing yields over billions of dollars annually to each state. So the government is benefiting sufficiently from this thing, in as much as it is affecting the kids negatively, fathers, low income fathers, fathers who are working and trying to make ends meet. It's bringing a lot of wedge into families, immigrant families, which I would love to kind of focus on, for the sake of this discussion, and black families, black fathers, just on the surface. But I mean, hopefully, eventually, I can be able to delve into that.
So, bottom line, you see child support as a good thing or a bad thing, or can it sometimes be good and sometimes be bad? What's your bottom line here?
There are both sides to it. There are advantages and disadvantages to it. Um, and that can be discussed, right? But I think when it comes to the black families or the immigrant families, it's causing a lot of bad than good amongst immigrant families.
Okay.
Um, I'm sorry.
Dream, you want to come in? We'll come back to you. Let's go to Melvin. Let's go to Melvin quickly. Melvin, let's hear from you. What is your take?
Well, like I said again, thank you guys for having me here tonight. Child support. This started back from the 1900s, and it been amended years past, and back in I think 1988, it was fully enforced and enacted in states, and they established basically some guidelines for states. So it varies from state to state depending on income and stuff like that. So there are disadvantages and advantages to child support that I think I will focus on tonight. Um, I'll talk about both the disadvantages and the advantages, and focus on the disadvantages to us, like Tyler said, immigrant family. Because for us, we come here basically starting from scratch. So a guy going through this, it has a lot of negative implication on him. I'm not just looking at him, but the case as a whole. Um, but the disadvantages in it, I will name few things. Financial constraint for the parents, conflict among family, and then you look at some, inconsistency with father being involved in the kid's life because of their financial status. Those and the list go on. And then secondly, the advantages, you look at, life support for the kids or kids' day-to-day activity, their education, their well-being, and you look at accountability to both parents. So it's not just we're not just looking at father here. We want to kind of look at the advantages because it's a non-custodian parent will pay child support to the parent who has full custody of the kids. So it focuses on both mom and dad, but it kind of gives that accountability for us, for parents to be involved in the well-being of the kids, bringing them up and showing they have those things they need to kind of grow. So those are the advantages, and like I said, the list kind of goes on. But I'll focus on those as we kind of digress. But like I said, for us immigrants, the immigrant families here is doing bad and good to us. I will give you example. People that have lived here, have their foundation built here,
So,
have their
so, so,
parents.
so Melvin, into those, let me just hold you.
Okay.
Keep your thoughts. We'll come back to you.
Okay.
Abraham, quickly, what is your thought? Your initial thought with child support on child
Yeah.
support?
First of all, guys, let me just say, right, there's a loaded topic, right? It's like it is, you guys, there's a loaded topic. For one reason or another, as you guys say, like Nevin or Tada's alluded to, as immigrants families, as African immigrants or whatever immigrants, black family, I think everyone is affected by it. But I think, Titus made a loaded charge here, like, it's a business, right? I mean, to me, I would slightly disagree with that, right? It's like, I think what I would say, right, it's all about accountability, right? I consider it as one of the social safety nets, right? If a child, like kids did not ask to, I always say, like, kids did not ask to come into this world. So when a child is born and one parent, and if both parents cannot get along, and like there should be a means. I mean, I think the government created this as a social safety net. I mean, at the end of the day, why? For that child. So that I think they can receive some kind of a support. I don't think the government has a business. Obviously, anywhere money is involved in the United States, there are taxes or fees, to service those. So if you're alluding to the tax aspect or the fees associated with that, it says a business. I would slightly disagree with that. I think it's another social safety net. Just the way you have Social Security, you have Medicaid, you have Medicare, and you have all of these things. That's what to me make this country great. There are some of the things there. Obviously, as you guys, earlier speakers alluded to, there are advantages and disadvantages. But at the end of the day, I think at the end of the day, it's for the child. It's meant to what? To kind of help support the child. However way that is being utilized, that's a whole nother topic.
Joey, before I come to you, I'd like to give Tatas the chance to clarify what he meant by child support being a business, and then after that, we'll move on to you.
Yeah, absolutely, and I definitely would stand, by my point here, my stance. If you go into research, in 2023 alone, child support. First of all, this is a federal funded program, right? For each state, each year, a state is funded heavily from the federal government. As we know that the governments they're divided. There's a state and then there's the federal. But in 2023 alone, child support overall on the national level yield over $29 billion. Okay. over $29 billion. That's what the government, that's what they collected. That's what they profited from. Okay. You have parents.
So help us understand. Help us understand how the collector
of benefits.
So where's the revenue generated from? From individuals who pay the child support?
Let me break this down. Anybody who has been through the system knows, first of all, parents, whoever the custodian parent is, who has more custody of the child, the parent will not receive the amount that the non-custodian parent is fully paying, right? All of these payments are taxed. Now, from those taxes, that's where the government get their revenue from. So this is not just focused on the child or the well-being of the child. And let me be very clear. Here. I believe that every man who sows a seed is fully responsible for his child. You must take care of your seed. But we're focusing on my focus tonight is how we are as immigrant family or as blacks in this country, how we are impacted negatively. And what is the purpose behind it? Where did it come from? Why are we affected the way we are? So that's where the revenue comes from. The taxes that are on these dollars that are collected.
Now, that's a very good point. I can agree with you. And AB, you have anything?
No, yeah. So one thing, if he says like, I don't think, look, as I said earlier, anything in this country, right? That's how the system works. It's like,
but will you now agree that based on the fact that they're collecting taxes from that money, it is a revenue from
taxes and fees.
Okay, so the taxes and fees.
Yeah.
If the child support wasn't in place, there would be no such revenue coming in, right?
But that what you call revenue is meant to what? To like those employees that are working on those cases, right? Those employees that are working on those child support cases. That's why it's basically like it's like a self-service, like it is. I mean, those fees and taxes to me is being used to pay them. I don't think that the government is collecting it and using it somewhere else, right? Is going into the very system. I don't think it's government.
It's still
I don't think
revenue.
it's
I
extra
understand what you're
revenue
saying,
for
but
the
it's still
government.
revenue. Let's go to
I don't
Joey.
think it's extra
Joey,
revenue
So
for
the
government.
fact remains that there's revenue.
yeah, exactly. And because when you do such a transaction like that, it is a business. We'll move on to Joey.
No,
Joey,
no, no, no.
what are your thoughts?
I totally disagree with that. We
We'll,
should
we'll come back to you. We'll come back to you.
Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Joey. Child support. This is a big topic. It's a major topic in our economy, in our life. But there are advantages and disadvantages. But one thing you always got to look at is that the importance of one child can make life better, and without no monetary value to support that child, it's kind of hard for that child to get where he need to go or she need to go. So with everybody ideas and thoughts, you always got to look at why was this made. This is a disciplinary act. This was made because we had irresponsible people. And if you go across the world, it's not a perfect system, but it's a working system. And we are here to discuss the plus and minus about it. It's nothing personal, and don't take it personal because it's 50-50 down the line. I will start off with that and we'll move further.
All right, so let's welcome Chase, the biggest boss in the Twin Cities. I'd like to say good evening to you, Chase. How are you doing?
Pretty good, sir. Pretty good. How are you guys?
Of course, you are aware of the topic, and before we move around for our second round of views, we'd like to hear from you. What is your take on child support overall?
Well, just to allude to Joey, more, we got to take responsibility. We got to be ready for kids as parents. If we are not ready as parents, the consequences that comes with that, we should be ready for it as well. Well, I say that to say this: the system here is all marketing when it comes to child support. Okay, the way the system is set up, I mean, and the women use that as a means of getting to us. What is bitterness? What is bad breakup? Women use that as a way of getting to us. We men, most men for that matter, don't understand how the system works. So we got to be informed. We got to educate ourselves on how the system works.
Right. Chase, thank you so much. And that was going to be my next thing. And Dream, I don't know if you're still there, but we'd like to start with you again. We'd like to start with you again with exactly what Chase brought up here. Do you think that some women use the child support system to get at their exes?
Most definitely, and I think I mentioned that earlier. They use it as a point of revenge. Like if their partner hurt them and they're not getting what they want, they're not getting the attention they want, they use that, as a way to say, to hurt the man, so they say.
Right.
And that is really wrong because, like we're all saying, based or whether the government is getting revenue or not, whether it's hurting people or not, at the end of the day, this is a disciplinary something that's put in place to put people in check to be able to take on their responsibility as they should. So, and then it falls back down to for the child's well-being. And those women that put their child's fathers on child support to get revenge, they don't be looking at, what's in it for the child.
Right. Thank you very much. And I certainly agree with you. Joey, what's your take?
I'm not gonna put tag on women and men.
Yeah.
The reason why is because it's more like a document for service, right? So sometimes it's a man for, sometimes it's a woman for. I'm not gonna look at this situation like that. Let's look at it in reality. If there's an extra month to fee and nobody can provide for it, right? That month is going down the drain. So an act is in place to support whatever the administrative is doing, as because we're seeing this from outside in, right? There are processes like fees and taxes and all that. Look, you business run a nation. We are all here because of that. So you have to look at it as a big picture, right? The immaturity is, yeah, there are people out there who's causing problem, and they're going to continue to cause problem because it's all emotional. But this emotional being has turned into the physical human being, and you got to take care of that human being. All right. So
I appreciate it, Joey. I appreciate it. Let's move on to Tatos. Let me go to my left first. Because Melvin, and then we'll go to Abraham and then Tatos. So Melvin, what's your take? Do you think that some women use the system to get back at men, and not just men who don't care, but actual men who are trying to be fathers in the lives of the children, you know, and trying to be there and support their children? Do you think, in any given way, that this system is sometimes taken advantage of by women?
Absolutely. Yes to that question. So yes, there are women out there that are bitter towards their ex or maybe their kids' fathers, and they use the system to get to them. However, there are instances
we will move on to Avi, and then we'll come back to. Are you there, Melvin? Okay, Melvin I think he got a call.
Are you guys still hearing me? I kind of received a call just now.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can hear you now.
Oh Lord.
Go ahead.
Come on.
You good? We can hear you.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Okay. So as I was saying, sorry for the interruption. I had a incoming call. So men at times will be irresponsible. You have your child who you are responsible for, you brought into this world. And some good women will try to reach out to ensure the fathers are involved in the kid's life. But there's some guys that literally just don't care. They just play don't care. And the child has those needs that are not being met. And the woman is struggling and going through all of that. This system is put into place for people like that. What I would not allow or disagree with is women that use the system to good fathers who try to be there to provide what they can. You know,
Yep.
go to work, share their limited resources to ensure the child has what he or she needs for their well-being. But then the women, some of them, take advantage of the system to be like, you know what, the guy doesn't want me, or maybe he moved on with another woman. I'm going to use my child or kids against him to kind of put the system on him and ensure, you know, he go through a lot. So yes, there are women that take advantage of the system to just ensure the man suffers, to make sure the child father is not involved in their life once they have that on the man, and it creates a lot of problem for the kids if you kind of look at it in the long term. For parents who trying to be there
the system,
and being taken advantage of by the kids'
Yeah,
mothers,
the
and
system.
also mothers who are trying
Melvin, can you hear
to
me?
kind of get the parents involved or fathers involved, and some fathers are not trying to be responsible.
Right there.
So we look at it both ways, like the previous speaker said. It's not just one-sided. It's both ways. Men, some of them appear not to be accountable, and there are some that are accountable, but then being abused or using the system against them to kind of strangulate them financially, and also prevent certain things from happening between them and their kids. So I'll stop there for now as we go, and there will be more we'll kind of touch on tonight.
Thank you, Melvin. Somebody has a question here. Anybody want to respond to that?
Yes. So here's the thing, though. I think before, I think like real quick, right?
Are you guys hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Melvin. Yeah, we can hear you.
Melvin, can you hear?
Can you guys hear me though?
Yeah, we can. We can hear you,
Yeah.
Cameron.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So quickly, I had a question for Melvin as he was going, but I was trying to ask him, and I don't know if he was hearing me or not. But Melvin, I'm asking you, if you consider this as a punishment, the government is looking at a specific amount that they take from your income, right? They take a specific amount from your income that they feel is necessary for the upkeep and support of this child. So how is that a punishment if the person is using, if the woman is using this means to get the necessary amount from the man in order to support the child? Because she is not the one determining the amount. It's the state that is determining the amount that is needed to support this child.
And just to clarify that, right, just to clarify that question too, right? It's also based on the income of both parents, right? They look at the income, whether the custodial parent or the parent pays. So they'll look at that and then determine the amount of support the child needs.
Right, but that's what it do. It's a 50-60, right? I mean 60-40. But this is what happened in our community intentionally, because I personally spoke to.
But before we dive into that, I think this question, Melvin should address this question.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, Sam. So good question. Like I said, some parents use the system basically to, cause a lot of financial constraint for the fathers. Why do I say that? It's a punishment wherein sometimes they will have their income, basically just not to have that balance. So at times they'll be like, I'm not working, I don't have a job. So when there is no income, as they explain in the code, because the code will not come after them and be like, you work here. They will do that to the parent who have full custodian of the kid. So basically some parents will basically have their income and take that to the court. And then the court will base the payment off of one parent's income. And then in that case, one parent's gonna pay a lot of money. So when I say punishment, is in that case wherein you have one parent having their income from the law to ensure the other parents pay more. So it becomes punishment. So in these cases, they are punishment, but in cases wherein the lady one of the parents gonna try to, balance it out and have the father involved, wherein they try to amicably resolve it, then it becomes like wherein that other parent more concerned of the child well-being. But there are instances wherein some parents do have their income and do things to increase the amount the non-custodian parent pay.
Thank you very much, Melvin. Thank you. I see AB shaking his head. It looks like he's in this agreement with you there.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that myself.
Sorry, Chase. I will come to you right after AB.
Yeah, but Chairman, we'll go on. Before I say anything to Melvin's point, I think that we had a guest that put a question out there. I think if we can address that, then we can go back. Then I can go back to Melvin's point. So
definitely.
If we can address that question,
let's address that question. Let's address that question. Thank you for bringing that up to mind.
Yeah.
The short answer to that question is no. The government doesn't.
Yeah, I think the question here is this: do the government ensure payment made to female parents are fully utilized for the overall well-being of kids?
Nope.
No.
Well,
No.
I think here's the thing, right? What Mike is like, is like both Dream and Tyler are saying no, but it's not a government job to ensure.
I can expand on that too.
Yeah, it is not a government job to ensure whether it's being fully utilized for the benefit of the kids. At the end of the day, right, the custodial parent, I think as a parent, whether the mother or the father, whoever the custodial parent is, I think they have the best interest of that child. Okay? And then now look, we all
AB.
You think
wait, to this point, right? Kids in this country, I think most of us on this panel, there's like most on the show right now, right, have kids. Kids are very expensive. In some instances, the amount that is even being paid cannot even take care of the kids. So it's not a government job to make sure that amount is being fully utilized for the well-being of the kids. It's not a government job.
But there should be a balance, right? Because if something is given, there should be accountability. But let me hear from Chase. We'll come to
how do you ensure the best
interest
of the
let's go to
kids?
Chase. Chris, what's your take on this question specifically?
The parent can ensure the best interest of the child.
Well, in some cases, Perdo, because not all parent has the best interest of the kid. Some parents take care of themselves before they take care of the kids. So some of those funds that is allocated for the kids or should be given to the custodian parent. for the kids is not actually used for that purpose. So there should be some kind of regulations around that. There should
So,
be.
so here's a
Well,
question I'm
we're
going to
well,
ask then. What is the intended purpose? Because if the child is being
Well,
fed, right? The kid is eating.
the intended
The kid is
purpose is
eating. The
clear.
child is
It's
being
for the
fed.
child.
The child is being
The
fed.
purpose.
The child is being clothed. So what else? I mean, what other intended purpose are you talking about? What other accountability are you
Okay.
talking about?
All right. Okay. So let's say I'll give you an example. Well, I don't want to bring someone else's kids into this, but
Don't
I've
gotta
no,
call me. That's not call me. That's all.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
just
I've
generally.
no individuals, right, who have gone through this. At least 3 to 4 guys, right? All right. One of them at this moment as we speak has a lady that went and took on a new vehicle at the expense of his child support.
well, you
All
paying
right.
Hummer. God knows.
Exactly. And she was well open to tell him, okay, your child support is paying this. I mean, paying this car note for me. All right. And also based on his income, I wanted to clarify what Melvin said earlier. On the income is 60-40. And some female intentionally will quit that job because, and when I mean quit that job, because the government tracks all job going in and out, right? So they intentionally quit that job before they can go into the hearing for the custody, right? So when that happens, now there's no job, no income. So how you call it, the dependent now, I mean the custodian parent takes a lot of money home. And which in most cases, in our community, it has to do with the female. The female has the kids with them or the kid with them, not the father. So imagine this happening. You're making about $5,000 a month, and 2,500 is going to this kid. That's a lot of money. That's half your income. How will you take care of yourself as a man? And that's when that's a whole different topic. Now we got to go into. That's when liability comes in.
So,
As a
so
person.
should there be
Interject.
a way in the system that will be able to ensure that the monies that are being given to these individuals to support their children are really being used for the intended purpose?
Yeah, look, let me
Yes.
tell you. Let me just
Let me-
something quick.
Let me
Yep.
let me say.
Oh, yeah, okay, go
Hold
ahead.
on,
Go
hold on.
ahead, Joey. Go
Gentlemen, we
ahead.
need order. We need order.
Right.
Okay.
Let's go on to Tatos.
I think so far from this discussion we can see what the actual focal point is from the government standpoint. It is enforcing financial responsibility. If you're really talking about, or if you're really considering best interest of a kid, it would not just be limited to finances, right? In as much as finance is big and everybody must handle their financial responsibility. If the best interest of the child was actually considered, then parents would be looking at the custody time, right? The finances, that child emotional well-being, their psychological well-being, and everything that encompasses the well-being of a kid. From my immediate statement, as I said, this is a business. I think we all agree to that. And this business is hurting, especially immigrant and black families, more than it's helping families. If parents, for example, went off, on different footing, life happens, parents don't stay together. If we're considering the well-being of a child, let's sit down and have a discussion. There are fathers, because I will focus on fathers mainly because statistically majority of the non-custodial parent will be fathers. Most of the time the kid, the custodial parent is the mom. Fathers who are working, who sometimes cannot afford what the government is imposing on them financially, there are other ways that they can compensate for the best interest of the child. There are other ways. There are time that they can spend. There are programs that those kids could be in, that fathers could be spending time with. There are just so many other ways. A child bonding with his father, especially a boy child, for example, means a lot when it comes to his upbringing. What happens to those fathers? They are struggling to meet their financial payments, and in some instances, even the custody time that has been allotted to those fathers, the non-custodian parent is violating it. It happens all the time. So we shouldn't sit there and act like just because the government is focused on financial responsibility that overall it's considering the overall interest or the best interest of the child.
Thank you, Titus.
But
We'll move on.
that's a distinction when you say violating.
I'm sensing bias here.
Chase,
Yeah.
Jack?
Okay. I'll let you regulate that, but I just want to clarify that end of it.
Go ahead.
No, when
Go
you
ahead,
say
Chase.
violating, I mean, there's two different ways the government look at how this is enforcement is in place. If you were married before you got split, then that enforcement is actually going to be enforced. If you were not married and you have a child out there and you are not a custodian parent, then it's another regulation for that. So I just want to clarify.
Let me clarify on that
To that
validation,
point,
Chase.
though, to that point,
What I'm
Chase,
talking about
yeah,
is
Okay.
where
Hold on one
where
second.
both
Hold on one
parents have
second.
gone to court. There is
Okay.
a court order on custody. You have your
Right.
time, your parenting time with the child, and the mom has her parenting time with the child. There are
Right.
mothers who, even though that is in place by the courts, deny fathers of that time with their children. It
yeah.
happens
True.
all the time.
And that's what I'm
It happens all the
that's a
time. And that's
distinction I was trying to
violation.
make. That's a distinction I'm trying to make. The only way that can be really enforced, but however, you still own right. I mean, has right to the kids whenever you want a kid. In my own instance, I'll use me as a kid state of year, right? I had that similar situation happen to me, right? And when I was ready to take my son on, I went into talking. Okay, I took
What kind of order you have?
There are ways, yeah.
there was
What
no,
kind
there
of
was
order you have?
the all rights were given to the league. I only had weekends.
Okay.
Can you imagine this? Just like
You have made yourself a case study now, so we'll dive more into it.
don't dive more into that.
What was your case?
We'll dig
What was
deeper
your
into
case
your
with child
case.
support?
Well, I wasn't married to her, so all rights were given to her. I was a non-custodian parent, right? So in that case, I only had weekend, and she was violating my weekends to see this child. But when I got ready, I went and took my child away, and at that point, it becomes a civil matter. So if she would want to see this child, she had to take him to court. So I had all rights, just like she did, but I didn't know that until I took the child away. So that's another way of handling, the whole issue. But I'm not going to go into this more. I'll let Presto tackle that.
Yeah, and Chairman, one thing we should focus on here, right? I know, like, we shouldn't try to play victim card or try to blame one side or another, right? I know, look, there are victims and
Take your
in the
position,
situation,
man. Take your position.
and there are what? Look, my position here is right. Is like both like both parents, right? Is like I bear the responsibility, and the system is what the system is. I don't think the system is favoring the female versus over the male. I don't think so. The system's in a way you have to fight it. Like Chase was trying to use it as a case study. Sometimes I sitting here, I'm a victim of child support. But in most cases, as immigrants, the one thing we don't do is that we don't fight. As soon as a female go on there and say, "Hey, man, this is it," we try to be why are you even taking me to that level? So we're trying
the child support system by default. Who becomes the parent, the custodian parent by default?
It depends on whether or not you guys were married when you have the child or children.
But holistically,
Okay.
it's by default
if you
mothers. Sorry.
If
By
you
default,
guys
it's the
were
mothers.
if you guys were not married, it's the mother by default. If there was no marriage,
Yep. Right.
that was
Okay.
That's the distinction I'm trying to explain.
Also give if the custodial parent, they will also give if the custodial parent is a mother, they will also give the father time.
yeah.
Yep. But then that time is not even going to be 65%.
Let's go.
It's going to be about 30.
Chase, hold on, thank you. Let's go on to Melvin and then we'll go on to Joey. Joey has been quiet for a while. Dream, sorry, I have to hold you there quickly. Let's go on to matter of fact, let's go to Joey and then we'll go to Melvin. Joey, go ahead.
I hear everybody out. We gotta focus on this topic, child support, right? Originally, when this started, right? This started because you had unresponsible men. Basically, that's the man is the provider of the seed. He's the one who's gonna make it happen, right? And you should know what you're doing. Now, when we bring it down to us as foreigners or first, second generations in a new place, if you really want child support, stick with your partner. Don't be emotional. Be there for the long time. Serve your time. Serve your time. Then you can go have your freedom.
Listen.
I think, Joey try to be JD. You know what I mean?
Listen, let me finish. Let me finish.
Like for Chase, right? Chase,
years, even if you're getting abused.
Chase,
Yes.
you agree with
Joey,
Joey?
you're open
that
to
you
the
should-
warm.
you should stay where you were.
No, guys.
Joey, right now, he know he doesn't mean what he's saying. He's just trying to make a point. But I will let him land. I will let him land. Land, Joey.
Remember, this is a law. This is a law. A law has no feelings. You gotta think about it. A law has no feeling. The people who's enforcing the law, right, are the ones who's doing the feelings with all the emotions. So we have to look at it.
Because you want to pay child support, you just stay in something you don't have
Exactly. That I was going to bring another point up.
When you was enjoying it, when you was enjoying it,
All right.
when you was enjoying it,
Let me come
you
in,
didn't know
guys.
the benefit.
Well, they give the whole. I mean, they give the guests. She's trying to come in.
After
Yeah.
Lady Jane, we'll go to the gentleman next. We'll go to Melvin.
All right, guys. Thank you.
No, I'm sorry, Melvin. I kind of stumbled my words there. Dream, and then Melvin. Sorry.
Yes. So stay with your partner if you don't want child support. See, I feel like the reason why this whole child support business came about, like Uncle Joe says, because of irresponsible men who try to avoid the things that they're supposed to be involved in. So the reason why a lot of people put their put the fathers on child support is because these people try not to be in their kids' life. And another thing is, you don't have to stay in a relationship with somebody to avoid child support. You have to be in your child's life and make sure you're on the same page with the other parent to try and work around these things instead of trying to avoid your responsibility as a father. So if you can avoid these things, like trying to go back and forth, trying to escape things that you're supposed to be doing, there were men who were running towards their responsibilities instead of just like brushing it off. So it's not about whether you have to stay in the relationship or try to make it work for the child's sake. Then again, it's about the child. If you're trying to stay there because of the child, you're gonna have your kids miserable because you're not happy with your partner. You're just staying there to avoid these things. So all these things boils down to the child, the well-being of the child. You're gonna have your kids miserable because this in relationship with parent or your spouse just to avoid these things. So it boils down to responsibility. Keep on to your responsibility. Just do what you gotta do as a man.
I'm gonna interject quickly. Give me a second. I'm gonna interject quickly. Look, when you have a child, the whole situation change. We are grown up. When you're doing grown up stuff, right? You gotta suck it up. Having a child is not a small thing. So whether you want to live next door or be in the basement or whatever you want to do, the child happiness, if you really want to child support your child, is being there with your child financially, physically, emotionally, mentally. You can't just not because you're paying money, that means you actually giving child support. That's financial support.
So I have a question. In that case, Joey, I have a question.
That's the government's focus.
Thank you. But I have a question for Joey. In that case, so if you're saying if you have a child and you should be there for which is the case across the board, right? But what if the woman in that case, which is by default the custodian parent, what if the woman was making more money financially than the man? How would that play out?
The woman will pay more. I have a family member.
The system, child support system is not just when parents split. It's not just about one person paying.
Yes.
Right? They will look at both incomes.
Yeah.
And they will determine who pays child support. Melvin, let's move on to you.
No, but the reason I asked that question because to Joey Payne making it seem like most men are as just liability. They just want they just don't want to take care of their kids. No father,
I didn't say
no father
men.
would
And
not want
that's
to take care of their kid.
I
I was
didn't
There
trying to
say
are.
men.
clarify that.
I
There
didn't
are.
say men. I
No,
said
no,
when
no.
this
There
was
are
made. I said when
fathers who don't
this
There
was
are
care.
men
made.
There are
who
men.
because you
don't
There
made a
are
good
men who
point.
don't care.
When this was
That's not-
made.
True,
When this
true.
was made.
Before,
When
before
this
we
was
go,
made.
all right, order, gentlemen.
All right, Melvin, go ahead.
Order. Let's go to Melvin.
All right, guys. Thank you. So, just because you're trying to avoid child support does not mean you should remain with the kid's mother or father. That would be the wrong decision you will make depending on the situation. There are a lot of things, a whole can of worms we're going to open and we start that conversation, but I'm not going to go into it. I will dive to what Tatus was saying about, you know, fathers or non-custodian parent that pays child support and not having that bonding time and the child well-being and spending time with the children. This is serious. There are instances we've seen wherein one parent is paying parent support or child support, depending on the number of kids he or she has, um, but not being involved in the kid's life. It's not that they don't want to be involved, but there is one parent who's there making it difficult and challenging. I think the system should look into those things because if you say you want a child's well-being and you want them, grow up and become somebody in society and not just having them being a liability, all of these
30
things should be
kids.
taken into account. Like, okay, one parent is paying child support, but we want to ensure that that parent is involved in the kid's life, ensuring that they have those not just financial support,
Got
but
30 seconds.
emotional well-being, parental guardiance, ensuring the child has those things they need, like taking them out there in the park, playing with them. Those things have long-term or impact on them, like the well-being. Having my both parents involved in my life will have me know how to kind of function. Knowing that I have somebody protecting me from the male figure side and
Thank you,
and parental.
Yeah. So
Give me a few minutes. Give me a few minutes, Joma. Parents, sometimes mothers may not have that disciplinary means to have the child just do those right things. Fathers do. So having fathers involved fully will help the kids have that the social well-being and grow well in society and become somebody well. So I think that piece should be looked at by the government as well, not just looking at the financial aspect.
So one thing I want to say,
Thank you.
something here.
That is why I'll go
real
back
quick.
to my point to
Be-
say
before-
that this
before
is
you do-
more
before
about
you
the
do.
money.
Before you
It's
do,
more about business than the
Tatos,
No.
hold on. We will give you time here.
Right.
We'll give you time here. Gentlemen, hold on. Avery, go ahead.
Yeah. So first of all, right, let's look at the root cause here, right? It's like my godfather always like to say, right? I think we from Africa, yes, the thing we face. It's like, and I want to kind of allude to Joey's point earlier. Being a father, okay, like we from the African background we come here, right? We can just see any woman sometimes want to go, sleep with them, and then at the end of the day, baby come. A woman give their body, for love. Sometimes we take it for granted. Okay. Now, if you go and mess with a female and a baby comes there, I think to Joey's point was maybe she stayed there. My thing is before you even have a child with a female, man, that's why they have rubbers, right? The rubber is not only to prevent diseases, right? They have rubber as well, right? So hey man, if you not because you don't just go having kids by any female. That's it. That's one of the things we should learn here because
Absolutely.
that's how they have the child support thing. Yeah, that's how it's coming about, and that's how it's affecting our community. We just go out there having kids with any female out there. At the end of the day, we enter child support, and then that bitterness, and then it's like it's there. The female feel that okay, they give their body to us because of love, but then as time the child comes, boom, we bounce. At the end of the day, how's she gonna feel? She feel betrayed, and so sometimes this is what it is coming. I understand the financial aspect, all the stuff, but at the end of the day, the child interest. I think that there's as much as the mother, whoever the custodial parent is, might be thinking otherwise, but I think the government thing here is right. That let there be for the sake of the child, because the government doesn't want to take that responsibility. The child have to be taken care of by
Melvin, just mute yourself.
Yeah, somebody's background is noisy. So then, would it have been prudent to call this child financial support rather than child
Right.
support? Because
Can I come
what I'm
in?
hearing from Tatos,
Well,
hold on
I don't
one
want to
second,
say.
hold on,
I
let
don't
me
want to
land,
say.
let me land,
No,
Amy,
I
please.
don't want to say.
Wait, let me
like,
land. Let me
okay.
land real quick.
Mhm.
So what I'm hearing from Tatos and what I'm hearing from Melvin is that the support that is being given is not a well-rounded support, because they call it child support. It's not well-rounded. It only focuses on financial aspects, and there's no guarantee that these finances will be used for its intended purpose.
Right.
Because the case study that was put forth of one of
By Chase.
So,
Chase's friend is that one of
Yes,
his,
sir.
somebody was paying child support and the president went and bought a Range Rover. Right?
Hey, card note.
So
But,
Yeah.
can I?
who-
I mean,
but
can I address
who's
that?
riding?
Can I address
Who's
that?
riding in a Land Rover?
The mom,
Who's riding? The child is riding in a Land Rover, right?
but not how often. The question would be how often.
But,
Well,
what does it matter?
Okay.
It matters.
So can I address that?
Because
Can I-
if you charge me for a parenting time, that is the custodian parent is taking, let's say, half of the year or 3/4 of the year, right? And I'm being charged for that. Okay, so that tells me that you absolutely watching this kid 24 hours of the time, or let's say at least 8 hours of the time. 'Cause you have to work yourself as a custodian parent. So and then that child have a sleep time with you. That's because that's how we get charged as for child support. Okay, I said we because I'm a part of that. Okay, so now if you break that down, and I'm serious, if you break that down, that tells me you as a custodian parent cannot take a second job. You're not supposed to, because I'm already paying you for that second job time to be with the parent, because to be with the child, because I'm not with the child. But I just want to use the time to touch base on to Melvin a question he asked. He said, "How can the state or government enforce the child support payment?" It cannot be enforced, Melvin. I will tell you that you to Tyler's point too as well. Both of you made the same point. It can never be enforced.
Hold on.
Reason?
I don't think Bobby asked that question, but
No, he stated it. It
I
was a
said,
statement.
let me clarify what I said. I was the one, and I said,
Okay.
I think we were talking about making sure that the payments that are being made are
Right.
utilized on these kids. How then can the government ensure that this happens?
Wait, they cannot ensure. They cannot ensure, and they cannot enforce. I will tell you this, right? And it can be another. We can recircle back on this topic maybe next week or two. Reason they cannot be enforced or they can ensure this is because it's a business. Everybody agreed here when we got on the platform. It's a business,
No.
right? Having a business, if they enforce that, they will not be making business out of this child support because they take taxes, they take credit out, right? So that means families will be repaired. That means there will be no division in family. So to Joey's point, we'll have to stay with the individual we all with, or have kids back, because we'll have to go back and do mediation. They will have to at least help us in that.
No.
So I just want us to be clear on that. So the government cannot enforce that. They cannot ensure that as well. I just want to be clear on that.
Guys. Yeah,
Go
gotta
ahead.
get this clear, right?
Oh, this is
question,
interesting.
to your question, Chairman, right? It's not a government job, right, to come and tell you or tell our parents how to raise our kids, even in marital home with family. It's not a government job. What the government is trying to enforce, as I stated earlier, there's a means of social safety net to support the child in this relationship, whether marriage or out of marriage. So it's not a government job to come and tell you how to raise that child, whether you should send them to private school or how you should raise them. The money that is being paid to the custodial parent is feeding, clothing, okay, and all of the other things. We shouldn't sit here and say, "Oh,
but this is why we're asking.
So
Before I come to you,
that's wrong.
AB, a question to you. Maybe hold on a second. A question to you, AB, right?
Yeah.
And like Tato said,
Mm-hmm.
if this enforcement is in the best interest of the child, why not go the extra mile to ensure that the money is being used for its intended purpose?
It costs us money to do that.
Oh,
But then how are you
okay.
responsible for the child?
No, it's not
Okay.
a government job. To me,
So,
it's
so
not
then,
a
so then,
So AB,
so then, how can you
AB.
not agree that this is a business?
Yeah.
Because
No,
they don't
it is
want to
not a
spend
business.
extra money
It's
because
not
they
a
want to
you
get
cannot
profit.
classify it as a business. It's not a business.
Because the extra enforcement will cost money,
Man, I think it's
and
a business.
it will then have them running out of
These
the
the
profit.
no, okay. Let's take it as the visa, right? Let's say go. I mean, let me just give you a quick example. Let's say if you apply for a visa, right? Like the USCIS is self-funded, meaning like those application fees that's been collected. Okay, those application fees that's been collected, it is used to pay. It is not from taxpayers' money. It's not the taxes UMSA is paying. It is used to pay the employees of USCIS. Same with the child
Processing your
support.
document.
Yeah,
AB,
the same thing with the child support. The money, the fee that's been collected and the taxes is being used to pay those employees that is working in those divisions.
AB,
Okay, we shouldn't
AB,
say
let's
that the
just
government is
agree.
benefiting from that.
When you
Let's
guys
just
talk about
agree.
business, when you're talking about business,
You got 1 minute.
I got 1 minute. AB, let's just agree.
Mhm.
Let me ask.
Government got funds from every wealth they can get revenue from. So it's not just from children support to pay the people that work for that agency. Let's look at this point. What about parents that want to be involved in their kids' life? Michael Green asked that question online. I bet we kind of skip it. He asked a very important question. What about fathers that want to be involved in their kids' life but still being put on children support? If we are looking at this as a means of having kids, having wealth to grow well in society and do good. So if you see a man who tries to be involved in a kid's life, but it being challenging and being difficult to do. Now, since you said this is just in the best interest of the kids, how can it just go beyond that to ensure that both parents are involved in bringing up this kid? That will help that child become somebody better, do good in society. But these things are not looked at. So if you look at government making money, government getting money to pay these employees, government revenue is not just generated on the basis of just, hey, we have
No, it's federally funded.
Federally funded. So government got money from every means.
All right,
Right?
Melvin, your question is clear. Melvin, your question is clear. Let's give maybe 30 seconds to respond. And after that, we'll go to Tatas and we'll go to Joey.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Here's the thing to that, Chairman. First of all, even with the child support, the government, right, when it comes to that, the government gave both parents the opportunity to be involved. Even with the child support, government gave both parents the opportunity to raise that child. Now, you as a father or as the mother, you have to see how best you guys can work together. To that, the relationship does not work. And then the person who feels like, okay, maybe the custodian parents feel that, look, I'm not getting the support I feel I'm getting for this child, so I'm going to feel how best the government can help me get the support that I need. Okay, and when they go that route, okay, the government still ensures. There are social workers that come to the house, even when the child support, after you guys go to court. Social workers come and try to intervene and try to interview both parents.
Where in America?
Yes.
In America? So
Wait,
social
what?
workers come to
Upon what?
where?
They-
No, there's no interview that goes on.
We can check that out. That is
go ahead,
true.
Titus. Go ahead,
That is
Titus.
not
Let
true.
Titus talk.
That would be child service, Brazil. That would be child service. That means your child is taken away from you.
Okay.
Social worker
ahead,
comes
Titus.
with
That's
Let
not
Titus
quality
talk.
we live in America.
That's
Let
not true.
Titus talk.
Maybe that's not true.
Listen, they don't bring case workers. They don't bring case workers.
Hello.
No,
Don't
it depends on what the
mislead- don't
Let
situation
mislead
Titus
us.
talk.
All right, hold on one
Titus
second.
talk.
Hold on a second. Let
You'll not be allowed
So
to mislead
Tatas-
our audience.
Tatas, let's go
Hello.
to you. Dream, we're hearing you. We'll come to you shortly. I'm sorry. You're here with us. We can hear you. Tatas, let's go to you for the next 1 minute, and then we'll move on to Dream and then Joey.
I think we can all agree here to my original point that the child support system is a business.
No,
Who
generalize
benefits
it.
the-
Don't say that. Don't generalize
Who
that.
benefits the
Release-
most? Who benefits the most in child support collection? It is not the child. I think we've all circled around, we've talked about it. It is definitely not the child because the government's focus is mostly on finance. That is not the end all be all to raising a child. A lot more is needed that is not focused on by the government. When we're talking about enforcement here, if the non-custodial parent is not meeting up to those financial requirements, guess what? They are incriminated. the state enforce those payments, or you'll be incriminated. They have consequences like removing your seizing your driver license, but telling you have to go and look for work. If you cannot find work to meet up to those payments, you can go to jail. You can go to jail for not paying child support.
Yeah.
And in instances that you're not, you're
30 more
having
seconds there, Tatos. Quickly.
all those arrears are piling up, the state incriminates you for what? For not meeting up to financial payments. This has nothing to do with the best interest of the child, because if it did, then the same state that is enforcing those payments or giving you consequences when you're not meeting those financial payments should also ensure the other side of the payment. As people have been saying here, if you make a payment towards the child, if you financially supporting that child, why isn't the state, since they're so concerned about the well-being of the child, why isn't the state enforcing that child is equally benefiting from the payments that the
Thank you.
non-custodial parents make? And let me just close on this. If the child support system was composed in a way where both parents are given equal opportunity to time and finance towards the child, do you really think this child support stuff, this system will be booming? Do you really think non-custodial parent or custodial parent will be so quick to take the non-custodial parent to child support, even though that parent wants to be involved in that child's life? It has nothing to do with the full interest of the child.
Thank you.
What
Thank
do
you
you
very much,
call
Thanos.
bullying? What do you call bullying?
Thank you. Well, let's go to drink. We are running out of time here. It's now 8:27. We had hoped to wrap up at 8:30, but let's give 5 more minutes, right? So Dream. Lastly, just your closing on this. What's your closing argument?
First of all, I would like to address something my dad said from the beginning. Not from the beginning, but when he spoke earlier. He talked about women or men having kids, with the wrong person, which I think is vice versa, because some women have kids with men who don't want to be in their kids' life, and some men have women child with women who tends to get bitter when the relationship don't go as planned. And then my point, going back to something I thought of when my dad was saying that having kids comes with a lot of constraint on, especially on women. It's your body, it's your time, it's a lot of effort to have kids. So with it being, the money is coming in, the child support payment is coming in, do we think about besides the payment, whether the woman is using the money for herself, which is actually not right. If she's using the money for herself or for her own activity, is not right. But this woman, first of all, went through a lot to have this child, so I feel like in some case, in some ways, she's entitled to that.
Thank
And
you very much.
those
Second of all, go ahead. State your second point.
secondly, the money don't even be that much. The money don't even be enough to cover all of the things that are outlined in what child support is for. They said for housing, for food, for the child daily activities, schools and stuff. Those money don't even be, first of all, enough to cover all of those things. And if a woman is being selfish to not, first of all, if the money is not enough and she's using the money to do her own personal stuff, it's not right. And coming back to Titus, he said the government is focusing more on payments. I feel like the child support should not be surrounding payments alone when it comes to financial needs. It should also be extended to the father or the whatsoever parent being involved in the child's life, being able to, because it bring problem. Like if a man say, I'm paying the money and then I don't have enough time to I don't have enough access to the child, I'll just pay the money and not come around, not even put in the time and the effort. So
Thank you.
I feel like,
Just 20 more seconds here. Wrap up quickly.
yeah. So I feel like the child support should be more than just surrounding financial issues and stuff. It should be for parents to be involved in their kids' life equally, and making sure the child have support from both parents. Besides money in business.
Thank you very much, Dream. Thank you very much. Let's go on to Joey. Joey, 1 minute.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'll go in this with closing, right? So we gotta keep this to the point. Child support, right? Originally, it started for runaway fathers, right? Probably runaway mothers too. It go both ways. But now, it's a new generation. We're looking at immigrants, right? If you really say you're an immigrant, you come into a new place, make sure you try to stick with your people, work it out, right? Back in the days, in our country, we don't have something similar to this, but those guys who was making babies across the street, they used to take care of their babies, right? They made a big house, they made 2 houses, 3 houses, whatever the case is, right? So now when you come to a new environment and you see new things, you want to test it out, hey, there's protection out there. There's ways for you to handle yourself. When you get a child involved, you cannot give 200%. You gotta give 1,000%. So when we look at this child support system, we gotta look at, we live in a fast-paced economy. They did it to keep people in check. Why not? If you're a grown man, you're a grown woman, you make a decision and you live with it. You don't have to be with that person. I'm not enforcing anybody, but look at the big picture. That kid can be something that's going to be beneficial to you. That kid can be beneficial to you and the lady, because that's a bond you have made. This is not just a floating cow. This is a whole human being, and this human being got to get taken care of. Once on the financial side and on the emotional side. If you really want to do it, you gotta be together. If not, you're gonna pay the bill.
Thank you, Joey. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's move on to Chase. Let's go ahead.
Joey just caught me off, man. Well, I will close. I will close with it. I will say, yeah, we got to pay the bills, Joey. Oh my God! I'm sorry, man. I just couldn't get out of my head. I'm sorry. No, but honestly, yeah. To your point, Joey, I would say, I think when this was established, I haven't really dived deeper into it yet. But I think when the whole system was established, I think they were looking at welfare, and they were also looking at how much people. Because the system, especially if you look at, like, let's go look at. I don't want to be how you call it, country specific, but let's take for example Somalians. To Joey's point, they got thousands of kids, 10 people in a 2 or 3 bedroom. All right, I get it. and some of these families are on welfare, right? So, and they're still depending on the government. They don't want it. They want the government also they don't want people being liability to them because of that. Imagine healthcare for 10 people in a household. Imagine food stamp. You imagine subsidized, what are Section 8, what are the kids gonna be? So these, I want to think these are some of the reasons that the government came up with this system to enforce, to make people men as a whole, working men, or working family for that matter, whether divided or together. I'll close with that.
Thank you, Chase. Let's move on to AB. No, AB will be next to me. Let's go on to Titus.
Well, I think it was a good discussion. Really great points all across the aisle here. Different views. We can agree and to disagree, and vice versa. But yeah, we should definitely continue the series. I think there are a lot more areas to be explored. I've made my point. I stood with my argument, and I hope to continue again.
Well, Tatos, I think you left us with the next topic about the next series. Yeah, I mean, next thing to attack in our series here. I think we should try to look into the argument is try to support a business. I think that's something we should come prepared with next week. But we can decide on that We'll move on to Melvin.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you guys. I think this is a huge topic. It worth talking about, and I appreciate whoever brought this idea to talk about it because it's affecting a lot of family. What do I mean by that? There are parents. I'll close with this. There are parents who are trying to be in their kid's life, but one of the parents is making it harder. If you are here listening to me, I think just try for the best interest of a child, for the well-being of a child, so the child can kind of grow in society and help you, not just the other parent who does not have custody of the child. Just try to amicably resolve those things. You can still keep the child support on there and have both parents just have the child kind of grow up. For the betterment of the child, for the well-being of the child, just so that we can have better people in society. Immigrants, we are here to help ourselves. If you have a child, just try your best to be involved in the child life. Try your best to be whichever way you can help to kind of help
20 seconds
the
there, Melvin.
upbringing of that child. So I'll close with that, guys.
Thank you very much. Avery, 2 minutes.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you to all of our listeners out there. As I said, it's a great topic. As I said from the beginning, there's a loaded topic, man. I mean, it's affecting a lot of immigrant families, as Tata said earlier. And but it's affecting a lot of families, and things like that. So, but the one thing I would say, right, the government intention was never to try to hurt families. I think the government intention, right, is to take care of, take care of the kids. And like, even the custodial parent that is taking the non-custodial parent to court, for child support, I personally believe sometimes that custodial parent is selling themselves short because sometimes the support that they receive does not take care of that child. We all know, I use it from my personal experience with kids that live with me. Kids are very expensive. Sometimes I've been wondering how these mothers that the mother that was saying elder, she's driving Range Rover, whatever she's driving, it's like, hey, man, kids are very expensive. You go to the grocery store, especially in a current inflationary environment that we live in, kids are very, very expensive. So to take care of kids, it's not easy. Even the support that has been given to those custodial parents, I don't think it's enough to take care of them. By the end of the day, however the situation is, if you are the victim, in the kind of situations, try to work it out. Try to see how best you guys can be friends, not enemies. The custodial parent, whether it's a female or father, my child will be, try to create friction. Always try to be a peacemaker. Try to look at the positive aspect of it and try to see how best the child welfare and the child well-being can be top of mind and the top priority. But I think it's a great discussion we have started here. As I said, is something here with this platform, and I appreciate the great discussion tonight. So back to you, Chairman.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Titus. Thank you, Melvin. Thank you, Chase. Thank you, Dream. Thank you, Joey. And thank you to the folks who have been watching us tonight. I frankly enjoyed this topic. I don't know about you guys, but I really did. And I think Melvin was very fired up.
Yeah.
Chase, thanks for putting your case forward. I don't know, deep into a little bit. Joey, you make great points. I disagree with you, though. I don't think nobody should stay in a place where they're unhappy because they don't want to pay child support. I don't think
you don't have to stay there. I'm not
and
advising anybody to stay there. Don't do
next
it.
week.
Don't stay
Next
there.
week, you're suggesting, but listen, it's not an argument. It's not an argument. I just slightly disagree with you, and that's okay.
Are we throwing out? Are we making this a series, or are we going to another topic?
We'll be back next week, and I think we should tackle the argument of if child support is,
Because I got another topic for us, but it'll be off the record.
Definitely, but I think
Go ahead, Chase.
I think we should.
Well, I want us to look into imprisonment.
A second, brother. A second. I think we should look more into child support. Is it a business? And secondly, should there be any follow through to ensure that the payments that are being made are used for the purpose that it should be used for? I think those are important aspects also for us to look into.
Yeah, Chairman,
I will try my best. I will try my best to we will try our best to get a social worker on here tomorrow. Somebody who is
Next time. Yep.
That'd be great.
I will look into my area and see if I can get somebody. But if we don't, we'll bring somebody who's closer to that area too.
Yeah, I think that's why it's like if we want to look at that aspect, whether child support is a business, we should bring someone that work in the system. Someone that's close, like
If we
someone
don't get anybody, let's come prepared with numbers.
yeah.
And some
I think we
data
can get somebody. I mean,
arguments.
and I think we can get somebody.
Yeah. So Tatos, come with some numbers.
.gov.
Oh, folks, we want to
Yeah,
send.
we'll come with data and
We'll come with that. We'll come with receipts, as they can say. We'll come with receipts.
And just a quick announcement.
It was a good time here.
And just a quick announcement before we go, Chairman. Yeah, just a quick announcement. So next week we'll be moving on to 2 days. You know, what I mean, it's like this platform has started great. Moving on to Tuesdays and Thursdays. Let our guests know that, our audience know that we'll be moving on. I think we have started something great. There's some information there's in our community. Melvin, Dream, you guys, thank you. I mean, it's like, hopefully you guys can continue to join us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
for having me.
All right, great guys. Thank you all.
Have a great night, guys.
Can I hear you?